Here it is. The news about the coronavirus. That's right. The news about the coronavirus.
Questions surrounding President Donald Trump's personal finances will soon be tackled by the Supreme Court. Still ahead, why the case could be a landmark court battle that impacts the American presidency.
This camera ran out of juice.
Moving can be hectic, but with Spectrum, you can easily transfer your TV, internet, and voice to your new place. Plus, you can request to self-install your services and do it on your schedule with step-by-step instructions included. If not, we're happy to take care of it with 1-hour appointment windows, check-on-the-way alerts, and professional installation. Schedule your move by calling 855-378-7754. And don't forget to ask how you can save on your mobile bill with Spectrum Mobile.
The weather on the one, we've got a large band of precipitation.
Your morning news, weekday mornings on Spectrum News 1. Sunday mornings, take an in-depth look at your community. In Focus with Mike Kallmeyer, a half-hour show dedicated to the important issues, driven to bring decision makers together, and committed to elevating discussion and debate. Your community, your state, your show. In Focus with Mike Kallmeyer, Sunday mornings at 10:30 on Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum. Spectrum News 1, a new kind of news channel dedicated to refreshing storytelling and empowering communities across the Buckeye State. With your local forecast every 10 minutes and all of the essential news you need 24/7. Plus, in-depth shows and exclusives focused on your community. Always Ohio, always refreshing, always on. We are Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum.
Weather and the sky has always fascinated me, and I live with what I do. I come home, look at the weather forecast, and it's really a part of my life. It's not just a job, it is my passion. I'm Chief Meteorologist here, Rick Delwell. We have a very experienced weather team.
Here it is.
We know what's important to
The
Ohioans
news
as
about
they
the
make their plans every
coronavirus.
day, because we are part of the community.
That's right.
I'm Eric Elwell,
The
Chief
news
Meteorologist.
about the coronavirus.
A landmark court battle, a long time in the making, could have radical implications for the American presidency and how all three branches of our federal government interact. The questions surrounding Donald Trump's personal finances will finally have their day in the highest court in the nation. Our Javon Vital has a preview of what's at stake.
Oh yay, oh yay, oh yay.
It'll happen on a conference call, but on Tuesday, the U.S. Supreme Court will hear oral arguments in a cluster of related cases. At issue, Donald Trump's finances and who can see them. It's an issue that has followed the president since he launched his campaign in 2015 and refused to let the public see his tax returns. Professor David Super is a constitutional law professor at Georgetown University. He and many legal scholars agree the stakes are historic.
They are very high. We will fundamentally change the office of president if the president wins in ways that I don't think anyone can fully anticipate what that will mean.
Tuesday morning, the 9 justices will hear 3 cases. The first 2 of the day, Trump v. Mazars and Trump v. Deutsche Bank, are about whether Congress can access the president's records. The House Oversight Committee, chaired by New York's Carolyn Maloney, along with the House Intelligence and Finance Committees, subpoenaed Trump's accountants as part of ongoing investigations. The president's lawyers sought injunctions, saying the House had no business getting the records since it wasn't a law enforcement body and had no authority.
I think the president's argument there is very weak, and his extreme position would change the way administrations and Congresses have related to one another really since the early days of the Republic.
The third case was filed by Manhattan District Attorney Cy Vance, in which a grand jury subpoena was sent to Mazars for Trump's financial information, including tax returns. The president's attorneys argued in New York that a state or local DA can't go after the president while he or she is in office, as it could undermine the office holder's ability to perform any necessary duties. Professor Super says the implications there could determine just how shielded the office of the presidency is.
He's put enormous effort, he has taken some significant political costs, and he's put the credibility of the Supreme Court, which has been very friendly to him, on the line with this. So one imagines that whatever it is that he feels the need to hold back has some real explosive potential.
Reporting in Washington, Javad Patel, Spectrum News.
Still ahead, a coronavirus success story. How one Ohio man beat a grim diagnosis that doctors didn't think he would make it through. We bring you that story and more right after the break.
All right, so we start Sunday morning off with freezing or slightly above freezing temperatures. By the afternoon, we're in the 50s and 60s, tracking showers and thunderstorms. Big difference from morning to night. I'm meteorologist Andrew Kozak. A look at your Sunday and your 7-day plan coming up with your weather on the ones.
Is my passion. I started out as an actress and singer, which isn't the typical way to get into broadcasting. Whether it's journalism, singing, acting, writing, it's all about storytelling. I guess I fell in love with news because it's the real story of us. It's the real story of community. I'm Mary Lee Melendez, anchor reporter, Spectrum News 1.
Weather in Ohio is changing all the time.
We get winter one day and 60s the next.
At Spectrum News 1, our goal is refreshingly simple.
We bring you an accurate, reliable, and local forecast every 10 minutes.
We have an incredible, experienced team of people.
We don't just know about the weather, we know about Ohio.
You never have to wait for your forecast with your Weather on the Ones.
Weather on the Ones, every 10 minutes, exclusively on Spectrum. Spectrum News 1, a new kind of news channel dedicated to refreshing storytelling and empowering communities across the Buckeye State. With your local forecast every 10 minutes and all of the essential news you need 24/7. Plus, in-depth shows and exclusives focused on your community. Always Ohio, always refreshing, always on. We are Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum.
Maybe I'll run for president, maybe I won't, but I will tell you that I'm not going to go away.
I don't think Michigan can become the Michigan of old.
We're probably the first professional sports team in the world that was built by the fans.
We're the biggest ice cream shipper in the nation, setting the standard for American ice cream.
I get to live my dream. I mean, what more could I ask for?
Conversations, Sunday and Tuesday night at 9 on Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum.
I'm Andrew Kozak, back with your 7-day plan, coming up here in just about a minute 30. Thank you so much for joining us here on Spectrum News 1. Appreciate you. As we get into your Sunday, we start off with a freeze warning, and then we end up with the severe weather potential for the afternoon. Unbelievable, right? So your Sunday starts out feeling like winter, ends up more like spring. Main threat for the afternoon, and by the way, it's just a marginal risk, but the main threat would be strong winds and maybe some hail, in addition to some heavy downpours. So the storm chances still up there on your Sunday, about 60%. Monday it goes down. We could see a scattered shower, but take advantage of your Tuesday and your Wednesday, because those would be the better days of the upcoming next few for you to get outside finally. I know Sunday's Mother's Day. By the way, happy Mother's Day to all of you out there. But as we get into your overnight, we'll start things off with clear skies and partly cloudy skies toward the morning. So let's take a look at the freeze warnings. They're not for the Cleveland metro, but for those areas just to the east and south. What we're going to see here are temperatures that will be flirting with around 32 degrees. So just be careful out there. Make sure to cover any plants if you can. Even if you're just outside walking the dog, keep in mind Akron over toward Cleveland, first thing in the morning, temperatures could feel like the upper 20s. And then we all warm up. Strong southwest winds, and then we'll introduce those chance for storms. So here's your futurecast. Sunday morning, we're fine. Even by lunchtime, we're warm, windy, and we're starting to get that rain coming in. Not by lunchtime, but by about 5 o'clock is when we'll have our first few drops. That lasts throughout the night and into the early part of your Monday. We could briefly end it as a period of maybe a few flurries, and then Monday morning is cold in the 30s, kind of raw and damp throughout the afternoon in the 40s. It's once we get through Tuesday, things are a lot better. Sunday highs, 58 in Cleveland, 58 in Mansfield. Sunday's sort of a sneak preview of what spring should at least almost feel like. Still below average, we should be near 70. Now we'll get there. First Tuesday, Wednesday, 50s and mostly sunny to partly cloudy. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we're pretty much where we should be for temperatures, but we'll be tracking a chance for showers and some thunderstorms.
Here's a story of success. An elderly man who was so sick that doctors thought he would die from the coronavirus is now making a surprising recovery. Spectrum News 1 reporter Sheena Elzy shows us how he's making it through.
This is the day 76-year-old Gary Campbell never thought he'd see.
That's it.
The recovery he never thought he'd make.
Both hands on the rocker.
The home and family he never thought he'd spend time with again after he went on a cruise and came back sick with the coronavirus.
It was severe cough, very severe cough, congestion, headache. And immediately, based on my symptoms, sent me to the ER at Westchester Hospital. Basically, that's all I remember for 45 days.
Gary was put in a medically induced coma. He was so sick, doctors had to keep him sedated to get him on a ventilator to help him breathe. But that wasn't the only problem.
He started to swell. He blew up to 100 pounds more than he is right now. Then his kidneys functioning and the rest of his body started shutting down. At that point, I did not think that he would make it.
Doctors didn't think he'd make it either.
We said, the chance to survive is low.
He was being treated at University of Cincinnati Hospital, where he was not only on the ventilator, but given multiple medications for the infections he'd developed on top of the virus. But doctors say something happened when they started making changes.
I think the main thing was how we played with the ventilator. But we played with the oxygen and the pressure and the volumes of air we provide to patients. And honestly, I think that was the most crucial part of his treatment.
Gary slowly started recovering, getting better, and woke up in a hospital bed 45 days later.
I'm not sure I really remember if there was a reaction. It's kind of like a bad dream. It was just a bad dream.
But he credits his family of doctors, nurses, and relatives who helped him heal, who are still helping him recover.
Terribly, terribly weak. As you can imagine, for the amount of time I spent in the hospital. But you know what? Standing and walking as we speak.
Walking away from a virus that nearly took his life. But he made it. He made it.
It's not about me. It's that others to see that you can survive.
I'm Sheena Elzy for Spectrum News.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame remains closed during the pandemic, but it's finding a way to connect guests to music. Coming up in our next half hour, how the Ohio tourist attraction continues to share music. But first, here's Ohio Voices.
I have been in Athens for close to 20 years. It's the opportunity to work with students and really the reward that I get out of mentoring them, recruiting them, understanding what moves and what motivates them, how they create media. The other thing that really motivates me is how they grow as a person and really move on from this 18 to 22, 23-year-old frame of life, which is very short in the grand scheme of things. They have a full life, and I really like to see have touch points with them to see how their family grows, how their career grows, how they give back in a fluid way, and it's always a two-way conversation. That really inspires me to keep going every day in this space.
You didn't just start a business, you created a community. Every challenge that's come your way, you've met head on. Your passion and dedication started this, and that's why you will rebuild. Your customers are your neighbors, your heartbeat. Our customers are our neighbors too, and our heartbeat has always been for local businesses like yours. Let us help you reconnect. Let's rebuild. Together, get a free video and 20% off your TV advertising. Visit rebuild.spectrumreach.com to get started.
We know your Ford is an essential part of your life.
Even if you're driving less right now, maintenance and service is still important. That's why your local Ford dealership and their technicians are here to help.
We can pick up your vehicle, service it,
and then return it right to your driveway. A fast, simple service appointment. And, most importantly,
you don't need to leave your home to do it.
Call your local Ford dealer to make an appointment today. We'll handle the rest.
The American Red Cross urgently needs blood and platelet donations and asks all healthy donors to schedule an appointment to give now. With the coronavirus outbreak, it is important to maintain a sufficient blood supply. Your blood donation is critical and can help save lives. Please, schedule an appointment today. Download the Blood Donor app, visit redcrossblood.org, or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. You can make a difference.
Always Ohio, always refreshing, always on. We are Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum.
Maybe I'll run for president, maybe I won't, but I will tell you that I'm not going to go away.
I don't think Michigan can become the Michigan of old.
We're probably the first professional sports team in the world that was built by the fans.
We're the biggest ice cream shipper in the nation, setting the standard for American ice cream.
I get to live my dream. I mean, what more could I ask for?
Conversations, Sunday and Tuesday night at 9 on Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum.
Welcome back to Spectrum News 1. I'm Mary Lee Melendez. As always, we're bringing you the latest information on the coronavirus at the top and bottom of each hour. The White House administration is tightening visa guidelines for Chinese journalists in response to the country's treatment of U.S. journalists. The new guidelines will take effect Monday and limit visas for Chinese reporters to 90 days. A federal court in Kentucky halted the governor's temporary ban on mass gatherings from applying to in-person services. The U.S. District Judge issued a temporary restraining order to prevent the ban. And Major League Baseball will cut its amateur draft from 40 rounds to just 5 due to the economic strain of the coronavirus. This will save teams around $30 million. And we'll have much more on the pandemic in just a few moments. But first, let's go ahead and get a check of your Weather on the One's forecast.
Starting the second half of the weekend with another cold morning. In fact, some areas will still be looking at a freeze warning, mainly in eastern Ohio. Then everybody has a chance for showers and even some strong thunderstorms as we head into the afternoon. So it feels like winter to start. Will definitely feel like spring to finish with warmer temperatures. There's the freeze warning. Doesn't quite hit Cleveland, Columbus, or Cincinnati, but the east side for sure, bordering Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and northeastern Kentucky. Once we get into the mid-morning, temperatures will warm back up. These were your Saturday highs. In many cases, 20 to 25 degrees colder than where we should end up for this time of year, and that's mainly in the upper 60s and low 70s. Sunday a little better, but we will track some afternoon thunderstorms. Cincinnati 63, Columbus 61, even Cleveland rebounds to around 58 degrees, 61 in Dayton, Toledo, Akron, Canton, upper 50s and low 60s pretty much everywhere. Lima, Findlay, and Athens, temperatures range from the mid to upper 50s to low 60s. I'm back tracking your chance of storms and your 7-day plan right here with your Weather on the Ones.
It's been almost 2 months now since we've been able to eat at a restaurant in Ohio, but that's about to change. Governor DeWine is allowing outdoor dining to begin this Friday, and the city of Cincinnati is trying to help restaurant owners by giving them more outdoor space for customers. Spectrum News 1 reporter Camry Nelson has the details.
Cincinnati Mayor John Cranley recently announced that some streets in the city's Over the Rhine and the Banks neighborhoods will be closing to create more room for outdoor dining for over a dozen restaurants. Right now, restaurant owners are preparing to reopen, and potential customers are trying to decide when they feel safe going back.
Honestly, I was a bit surprised that they opened it so early. I was expecting it to be more like June, mid-June.
But despite the initial shock, Michelle Hausman says this plan could actually work.
There's like plenty of space in OTR and downtown on the sidewalks and streets. And I think being outside is pretty safe, and everyone's going to take, procedures really carefully.
As of Friday, there will be more than 24 streets at the Banks and in OTR that will be closed. We reached out to several restaurants that will be affected by this project, but none were able to go on camera. Many we spoke with say they are still in the planning process, trying to figure out how to transition to outdoor dining while staying safe. We also spoke with the assistant to the city manager, who says the mayor's plan for the outdoor dining is also still being worked on. An application process and other information will be rolled out by Thursday. And as for Hausman, she says she won't be too quick to take part in the outdoor dining experience.
Probably not next Friday, just because I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of people out, but definitely over like the next few weeks and months, I'll come down here to eat.
For Spectrum News, I'm Cameron Nelson.
Well, this weather certainly doesn't seem like it. Ohio restaurants are hoping to welcome customers back to their patios next weekend. The governor's decision to allow restaurant patios to open was long awaited by owners, but there are a lot of preparations and safety precautions to be put in place. Restaurant management says there are additional expenses to these safety measures, but it's worth it.
Enhance our guest and staff safety by, staff uniform masks, building barriers or plastic guards to make sure that tables are within guidelines. Things like that, where it's something where that expense is something that's atypical for us, but we're extremely willing to do.
They say operating at less than full capacity will be difficult, but it's better than not being open at all. The Ohio Department of Health is looking for more people to participate in contact tracing. These part-time health workers will help the state investigate small COVID-19 outbreaks in order to prevent the virus from spreading. Officials have posted 2 types of part-time jobs. The first is a contact tracer position that will pay $18.59 an hour to call and interview contacts of people who have been recently infected by coronavirus. The second is a supervisory job paying $20.81 to oversee those workers. You can call 1-833-4ASK-OD8 for more information. Governor DeWine announced plans to hire 1,800 contact tracers. Oakwood Public Safety Officer Steve Norris's life was turned upside down when he contracted COVID-19. Norris works 24-hour shifts as a police officer, firefighter, and EMT for Oakwood near Dayton. Not only was he away from work for an extended period of time, but unintentionally, he brought the virus home with him, which spread to his wife, Tara, who was taking care of him while he was recovering. Norris says Tara experienced more severe symptoms of the virus than he did, which was one of the toughest things to deal with. Thankfully, both have recovered from the virus, and Norris has returned to work and is now donating his plasma at the Community Blood Center in Dayton to potentially save other lives.
God uses us in ways that we have no idea about to accomplish purposes, to help other people. When I look back at the last few months with COVID and with how it affected me and how it affected my family, but then on the other side of that, then being able to help other people who otherwise I would not have been had I not had the illness, it kind of puts it in perspective.
Norris says he's going to donate as many times as he can to help as many people as he can. And as an added bonus to a roller coaster ride of emotion over the last 2 months, he just virtually graduated from Cedarville University with his Master's of Ministry, so congrats to him. And while he doesn't plan on leaving the force just yet, he does plan to use what he's learned every day as he continues to help others. In the early days of COVID-19 in the U.S., it was clear that nursing homes and assisted living facilities were hotspots for coronavirus. University Hospitals has now come up with a playbook for assisted living facilities to to help establish a plan to keep as many people as healthy as possible. The plan includes screening, separating the initial presence of the virus, developing a testing strategy, and turning those test results into isolation. Administrators at living facilities say implementing the playbook is working.
We're starting to step patients down into a quarantine unit. We're starting to see them on the other side of this virus, and we're starting to see their bodies heal based upon the work of the physicians, the physician task force team.
Now, the playbook will be used in nursing homes and assisted living facilities all over Ohio, but those using it already say the playbook works best when it's used by people who care. One of Ohio's biggest tourist attractions is temporarily closed due to the pandemic. However, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame continues to provide online entertainment. It's also serving as an educational platform for school systems. Our Enrique Correa has more.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame behind me should have been rocking last week for their annual induction ceremony, but that has been postponed until the fall due to the coronavirus.
Business has changed greatly. We closed the museum on March 13th after Governor DeWine's order, and all travel and tourism is ground to a halt, quite frankly.
Greg Harris is the president and CEO of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's annual induction ceremony was supposed to take place on May 2nd at Cleveland's Public Hall, but that has been postponed due to coronavirus concerns and will be held on Saturday, November 7th.
We're going to be ready. We will have social distancing protocols. We'll have a safe and secure place. We're going to follow some infectious disease guidelines and still deliver on our mission to engage, teach, and inspire through the power of rock and roll.
Since the Rock Hall is closed to visitors, the museum has put more digital content on their website to educate and entertain people at home.
We have educators on staff that made curriculum materials that fit Ohio State core curriculum for the state, and kids can learn science, social studies, all through the prism of rock and roll. We used to average about 50 teachers a day using it last year. We now average about 500 teachers a day using it.
Harris said he hopes the Rock Hall can reopen by mid-June. In Cleveland, Enrique Correa, Spectrum News.
A new mother in Northeast Ohio says she experienced a whirlwind of emotions dealing with her pregnancy during the coronavirus pandemic. But despite that, she's grateful to be celebrating her first Mother's Day with her newborn baby boy. After trying to get pregnant for 3 years, Hannah Lockhart says she never imagined that she'd be celebrating her first Mother's Day this year. She also didn't think she would be pregnant and giving birth during a global health pandemic. And to complicate matters even more, Lockhart gave birth to her son Liam 2 months before her due date. She says the experience of pregnancy and childbirth during such an uncertain time has reminded her what's most important and what Mother's Day really means.
It'll just be me and my son, so I guess that's kind of what it's meant to be, you know, to celebrate moms, but I'm just so thankful to be a mom because, like I said, I didn't know if that would ever happen a year ago, so it'll be good to spend it with him.
Little Liam has been at University Hospital's Rainbow Babies and Children's Hospital since he was born about a month ago, and Hannah has not left his side. She says Liam is making progress and hopes to bring him home soon. So happy Mother's Day to Hannah and all of the moms out there.
I'm Andrew Kozak with your Weather on the Ones forecast right here on Spectrum News 1. Appreciate you joining me as we turn the page on the second half of the weekend. Make sure to join me on Facebook at Andrew Kozak TV. Same deal on Twitter, Instagram, and on Snapchat. All right, so let's start off with a look first at the freeze warnings. Not for Cleveland Metro. For many of us, though, across northern and eastern Ohio, we will be down very close to, if not at freezing, by the time we get into the morning hours on Sunday. That freeze warning goes until 8 a.m. Then Sunday afternoon, we warm things up pretty quickly, introduce thunderstorms. So Sunday might be a weird day. I know it's Mother's Day, but it might be a weird day, feeling like winter to start, spring to finish. A better bet to get outside Tuesday and Wednesday for sure as temperatures climb, and we hold the rain off. The rain returns late next week. So let's get a few headlines going for you. Freeze warnings to the east, that's us. Patchy frost to the west, that's out west. We will continue to be looking at a really, well, big rush of air in the morning from the southwest. And that means that we start off cold, but we'll start to see those temperatures increase by about 5 to 10 degrees per hour Sunday morning. Milder with gusty southwest winds, of course, and then those afternoon storms. On Monday, cloudy and cooler, maybe a shower. Monday's not going to be so great, but Tuesday and Wednesday are going to be a lot better. Satellite radar shows we were dealing with not only cloud cover today, but also some lake effect snow flurries early on, sprinkles, and even a stray shower the rest of the afternoon. That comes to an end overnight as we bring in some clear to partly cloudy skies. Take a look at the Skycast for Cleveland through Sunday afternoon. So overnight, we'll certainly have those mixed skies out there. Then what happens as we get into the morning hours, the clouds start to thicken up. Lunchtime temperatures, though, will still be in the mid to upper 50s. Yeah, it's going to be kind of a warm, relatively speaking, day. And then by the time we get to about 5 is when the clouds really thicken up and we bring in some showers. We'll have some rain lasting through the night, Sunday into Monday. We'll take a look at that here with your Futurecast. Here's a look at 7 o'clock. Temperatures in the 30s, again, just east and south. Very close to, if not flirting with freezing. 50s by the afternoon. There comes the round for showers and thunderstorms. 6 o'clock at night. There's 8 o'clock at night. And some of those orange and yellows indicate even a few downpours. We'll continue that and maybe even briefly end it as a period of flurries. They won't stick around, but just to show you that Monday starts off pretty cold, and then we start to increase our temperatures by the time we get into next week. So, Sunday's warm, relatively speaking, showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. I'm tracking your 7-day plan coming up in less than 10 minutes.
Where's the volume on this?
Your business is crushing it. New orders just keep coming. And this is the one that could take you from local business to national distributor. No time for slow internet. With Spectrum Business, you've got this. That's because Spectrum Business delivers the fastest internet speeds. So you can turn this into this, and this, and this. With over 99.9% network reliability, you'll always be able to deliver. Spectrum Business. We keep small business running.
Plan their day. Welcome to your morning news. I'm Sophia Constant. Let's take a look at your weather on the one. We've got a large band of precipitation.
Hopefully it won't wake up Julia for this noise
Spectrum News 1.
from this camera.
Sunday mornings, take an in-depth look at your community. In Focus with Mike Coleman.